Have you ever walked down the street and noticed someone who wasn't quite like you? Someone in a wheelchair? Someone who spoke a little slower than you? Did you stare? Did you take time out of your day to help? If you have encountered these situations, take a second to consider the lives of those who simply want to be human, those who are disregarded, underestimated, overlooked, and considered abnormal by society. On behalf of those who are sometimes unheard, we present to you their message, not to sympathize or pity, but rather to seek and then gain understanding.
What kinds of disabilities do your siblings have?
I have one sibling that's cognitively impaired. I have one with schizophrenia, one with borderline personality disorder, and a couple physical disabilities such as missing arms and some other learning disabilities, ADHD. It was, growing up, it could get scary at times because she pulled knives on my mom when she was in her psychotic states. And watching them, because they learned the restraints, and they would have to videotape it for the psychiatrist. And, you know, it was really scary because I was the oldest kid in the family, and I'd have to watch this and help all my little siblings that were, like, crying their eyes out because they were, like, 4 years old, and, you know, even when they were, like, 10, and they didn't really understand what was going on. And the problem is that there's not the supports you need for people like that. You can't just put them in a hospital. And in fact, when I was in the summer before my 8th grade year, and it was basically her biggest breakdown because we were coming back from Muskegon from picking my sister up at music camp, and it happened on the bus, and she tried to jump off the bus. She was screaming, swearing, like I've talked about it so much over the last couple of years that I don't quite know how to explain it, but it was awful, and you can't use the restraints or the help. You can't do what you're supposed to do in those types of situations. And what happened was, because she was swearing and screaming and scaring all the kids and just, you know, all these things, my mom finally got her down. You know, I think she kind of put her legs over her shoulders to hold her down because it was the only way she was going to stay in one place. And because of the screaming, she just put her scarf over her mouth to kind of stop it. But Natasha also she would inflict harm on herself. And so she was pulling at the scarf, but she wasn't pulling this way to get it off. I was sitting there, so I know what was happening. She was pulling it this way, and you couldn't really see the marks, but we took her to the hospital because we didn't know what else to do at that point, because her meds were obviously not balanced. And they turned us in to FIA, and it ended up working out okay, you know, because they figured out what was going on, but they wouldn't put her in the hospital. The hospital wouldn't take her. They wouldn't, you know, they wouldn't admit her. Whereas with my brother, who was adopted from Michigan, when he was really struggling, they took him down to Grand Rapids, and he was able to be admitted for 2 weeks because the state still supports them if they were foster children. So I mean, I think part of it is just they have trouble expressing themselves, and when they get in those states, people don't understand them, and they don't know what's going on. And she looks normal, and to most people, she would seem normal walking out on the street. So they just want to be treated like every single other person, and they want the same rights.
When I go to the store, the cash register person treat me mean and different from others. I have applied for 3 jobs and none haven't called back. I feel like I am treated like a child of a daily basis. I feel like I am treated different than others because when people talk to me, they talk fast and it's hard for me to understand them. My ability of assess are underestimated. I am ignored when I have something to say. I feel different from others because the way they talk to each other is different. When they talk to me, I feel left out.